Hi, Annie. So I'm sitting here with your your session plan in front of me, and of course I didn't comment on your direction either. So I'll just give you general comments in the next few minutes. So what an amazing direction and what a great opportunity for CPS. Very exciting. When I read your BHAG, I don't know if you came up with it or if that's the goal of the Elders College, but what an amazing project to use creative problem solving with. So very, very exciting. And I love how you do your introductions and how you sort of blend the class format CPS with Aboriginal protocol. And as you know, in the final paper, part two, you'll be asked to be writing an essay about an insight that you can bring. So I think, as I've said from week one of the class, if you wanted to talk about how you bring these two different ways of doing things together, that would be an amazing paper for you to write, which I would love to read. So great way to tailor the process to the group you're working with. Going over the session plan, great. And I also really like that you then go into, so basically what you're doing in this session, just to be clear, in your first in your post about your session last week, you said you were focusing on transformation stage. I do not see this as focusing on transformation stage. I see this as being assessing the situation, which is sort of what Todd was getting at in his comments. So you say, because what you're kind of looking at is just asking people what happened in the first stage, right? So why was the program successful? Who benefited? How did they benefit? What were some of the challenges and how can we approach for funding? That's a lot of questions. And if someone handed me a sticky note, pad a sticky note, and asked me to address all those questions, I would be a bit lost. So I think what you want to do is you want to separate things that are assessing the situation, like um, why was it successful, who benefited, how did they benefit, what were some of the challenges, from the question of approaching for funding, because that's a different kind of question. One is just looking at what happened. The next question is looking at how you analyze that and what you do with it, right? But even then, I think there's too many questions. If someone handed me a sticky notepad and said, here are 4 questions to think about, it would be, I wouldn't know where to focus. So your job, as the facilitator and as the session planner is now to figure out, okay, it sounds like what you want to get is an overview of what happened. Maybe it's using these questions, maybe it's a SWOT analysis, whatever it is, right? To get people to start putting their thoughts and perspectives on the table. Think in great detail around how you are going to structure that, right? How are you going to ask the people ask the people like ask the questions in a way that things will progress in a way that will get you to where you want to go. So I don't have the answer to your question. I'd be happy to talk about it with you if you want, but I do think that you need to think about a more focused and sequential way to get the information you want. So they're thinking about all these ideas about the program, and then you want to, I guess what you want to do next is you're converging on key factors. So what are the successes? What are the program highlights? What are the struggles? Um, what are the technological or logistical challenge? But then potential funders and potential partners. I think that's a separate stage, right? So in short, what I think has to happen is I think you need to separate your analysis from your solution finding. And so go through the tools in assessing the situation and clarification, because that's where you'll do your analysis. Then when you get into, okay, given all of these successes we've had and highlights and challenges, and be they financial or technological, what do we want to focus on for finding potential funders and potential partners? At that point, if you want to go into a brainstorming session around what you might do, then that would be appropriate at that point. So I don't think your current structure works. Like, I think it sort of puts two very different activities together, which will lead to confusion. But I think if you separate out those two different activities, it will work. Then PPCO, so PPCO you use for solutions. So once you have ideas for partnerships, then you put them through PPCO. So so based on your current plan, you wouldn't put something like the type of successes that you've had through PPCO, because you're not trying to make that better. It's just a statement of fact. PPCO is a tool that makes ideas better, right? So you could do assessing the situation and like going through all the successes, program highlights, struggles, all that stuff. Then you could do brainstorming possible solutions to the challenge. Then you could do PPCO to make those solutions better. But that would be the sequence. So if you put a revised session plan, I hope to have time to comment before you go into the session. But you can always send me an email and we can talk. All right, you're working on a very exciting project. I very much look forward to hearing about how it goes.